Hello GGT Sports fans, welcome back to GGT Sports. Today it's a Sunday and we're going to discuss quite a lot. And in fact, today I'm going to have somebody in the show. You don't want to miss this. We're going to discuss about the coming seasons. Remember, season starts in a week's time. There has been a lot of games. Yesterday we had a game, Community Shield, Liverpool versus Man City. There's also friendlies that were going on, Man United versus Atletico. But today, the show basically we are going to look ahead and look at some of the managers we expect to do well, also transfers, big money moves that has happened in the Premier League, and of course our predictions for the season. So tune in. I have a guest today, and you don't want to miss this. If you've not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Hit up the turn button. Remember, we have so many videos to share. We also share uh, uh, betting predictions, and you don't want to miss this. Don't go anywhere. Tune in. Hello, GGT Sports fan. Welcome back to our channel. It has been a while since the last time when we had a discussion. And today I'm joined with one of my friends here, Stephen Kome. Together we are going to discuss the upcoming season. You know, there has been a lot going on in terms of transfers. There's also been a lot of talks about next year, the race for top 4 next season. And together here in a short time, we want to discuss, look into the games and also look into how the EPL might shape up in the next season. So, Steve, welcome. Maybe there's one or two things you would like to tell our subscribers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Steve. It's actually a coincidence that you all called Steve. So I think the best name would be use Kome for now. And I use Steve for you. So thank you very much for welcoming to the channel. Been actually a very, people have been waiting for the season to start, and actually everybody right now is eager and yeah, so the season actually will be a very exciting season as we start, and based on even the friendlies that we've looked at and all that, it's definitely going to be a crack of a season. So I'm delighted to be here, and definitely, yeah, I'm hoping to have a very good conversation here on GGT Sports.
Perfect. Actually, if you look at last season, top 4 race was a very interesting one because it's only probably at one point it was Man City going away with it, then Liverpool came up, and you know the race got very much intensified, and then now the battle for number 3 and 4, Chelsea, Manchester, Tottenham, Arsenal were all in it. At certain point, Chelsea got far ahead, and then it remains top 4 now for number 3 and 4. Is it for number 4 now being Arsenal, Tottenham, and Manchester United? I don't know. What did you make of last season in terms of that race?
Last season was a very interesting season, and definitely the way it started, everybody thought of, there was the expectation of definitely having Liverpool and Man City to run away with the season. But the season started on a very high note for Chelsea and also Liverpool. So everybody thought that Chelsea have really come to be the biggest competitors and the biggest challengers for the title for that period, especially the first half of the season. But eventually, the race now started to shape up the way people expected, that is between Liverpool and Man City. And they had a very good run during all that season, where eventually Man City became the champions. But what I can be able to see, or what I can be able to get from the last season was that there are quite a number of expectations which we had, especially from a team like Chelsea, for instance. Chelsea was a team which was supposed to be the biggest threat of the top 2, but at some point they failed to rise up to the occasion. And the way you've said it, it became a very clear race between two teams, that is City and Liverpool. But and then now the number 3 aspect, Chelsea had really solidified that number 3 because there's nobody who was really a challenge to that number 3. But the most surprising aspect of last season was the way, after Conte came into Spurs, the way Spurs became a big, the way Spurs really proved themselves and ran away with the top 4 position. It was very interesting looking at the likes of Arsenal, United, being the teams that anybody thought would be among the top 4. So yeah, it was an interesting season, and also that now makes to dull this season because everybody has that expectation of who will be in the top 4. Yeah. So
yeah.
I believe it will be.
Which reminds me, if you look at the English Premier League and the managers that the English Premier League are attracting at the moment, the caliber of the management, we had Pep and Klopp going toe to toe, and then Tuchel came about, even though he has not won his first league championship. But again, that's a quality manager that has come to the Premier League. We have the likes of now Conte, proven manager in the Premier League. He has won the Premier League with Chelsea as well. And then you have also Erik ten Hag joining Manchester United from Dutch League. And Erik ten Hag, if you look at Erik ten Hag, he even won the Dutch League, in 4 seasons. He had 3 champions. Yes. I don't know. What is your take of how the race is taking shape, and what do you think is attracting all this caliber of management to the Premier League? And do you think this is going to have effect in the race that we are going to have in this season?
Definitely, yeah. Now, the first question is, what is attracting these people? Definitely, there's a lot of money. There's a lot of EPL, as it stands, is one of the most competitive leagues, and definitely, expectations is to have the best of the management, the best in terms of who is your manager in that team. So the caliber is set very high, and the bar is set very high. Having somebody like Pep and Klopp within that kind of management. That kind of structure. So every other team has to play catch up. So definitely you have to involve very high qualified managers to manage your teams. And you can see the team which actually has fallen short of that is definitely United and Arsenal, because they have been having a bit of changes in terms of the management. But overall, the expectations in EPL are very high. There's a lot of money involved in EPL. And thirdly, is that I don't think even teams are very patient enough to have to build on something based on the aspect of the expectation from the fans and even the team structure and all that. So it will be a very exciting season, because any person who slips up, especially among the top 6 in terms of the management, definitely has a very big backlash. So there's no room for error. There's no room for error for any manager in EPL.
So do you say it is the money that attracts the managers, even the players? Because later on, when we'll be looking at the transfers, you'll see the likes of Haaland and the likes of Nunes that are now in the Premier League. Is it the intensity of the Premier League now being the most known league in the world, or is it the level of attention that it's given to it, or is it only the money, or is it that most of all these managers, because I tend to think some of them, they believe if you can come and succeed in the English Premier League, then you've proven yourself to some level, because winning, for example, Erik ten Hag looks like the man who is coming to prove himself after having great success in the Dutch League. But, you cannot compare the Dutch League and the English Premier League. And, so if you look at it right now, most of the best managers, the likes of Ancelotti, have been here. We're waiting to see if Zinedine Zidane will come to the Premier League. But the mixture is actually one with very, very great managers. Of course, there are some managers also who have joined and failed at the same time. Should I really say failed? The likes of Unai Emery at Arsenal, after a great success with Spanish clubs also, then he comes to Arsenal, could not manage it. Bielsa last season had to be fired by Leeds United after doing a great job and bringing them to the. So, and you look at also the likes of Harry Potter, you know, and Steven Gerrard coming up. So, is it money? Is it the intensity, or is it that these managers, they're all looking, I want to prove myself in the biggest arena?
So I believe the biggest thing, definitely the attention. There's a lot of limelight on the APL. That's one, and it's been known that the intensity of APL is very different as compared to maybe other leagues. I'm not really inclined to the fact that EPL would be, well, the competitiveness of EPL is very good. Other than maybe what Man City and Liverpool have done maybe for the last 6 years or so, EPL has been a place where any team can win, especially among the top 4 or the top 5. Any team could be able to come up, do a very proper recruitment, and then have a proper manager and win the league. We've seen the likes of even Leicester surprising other major big clubs, of which that was definitely an odd thing at that point. But the limelight at EPL is very big, definitely. Obviously, and then based on that limelight, there's expectation. So there's also, other than that, there's the money, because I believe the money is definitely also a factor. But also within the Premier League, within the coaches themselves, they want to prove themselves. They want to see how far they can be able to push themselves in such kind of a competitive league. And my cue, maybe before last season or the last season before that, we didn't have any winter break. So this was the most intense season of all other maybe major leagues in Europe. So there was that kind of intensity. So the coach has to really be very tactful with the squad, how much they rotate the squad and keep them fresh for that season, and for them to be crowned champions. Looking at the fact that you're playing UEFA, also there's FA, there's also now the other cup, which almost everybody is now, the Carabao, which almost everybody is making. Initially, it was not that big, but now almost every team is concentrating on such kind of competitions. So I believe with such kind of workload, you need to have a very good coach who can be able to organize their squad to be of optimal results in all those competitions. And definitely the biggest prize is the Premier League. So yeah, and we emerge as the victors. So that's why you can see a lot of major big coaches coming into EPL. So yeah, but that doesn't negate the fact that there are also other big leagues. I usually consider La Liga also big, but now the problem with those leagues is that you already know the number 1 or 2. So that's the problem with what we have. But EPL is a very exciting league.
Yeah, but of course you already know for La Liga, you know, number 1 and 2. But if you go at how the market has gone for maybe club like Barcelona, despite their financial problems, they've really bought some very. When we move to our transfers. So for our subscribers, if you've not subscribed, if you've not followed our channel, please subscribe, click the link button, click the notification button. Remember, this is our maiden talk show. We are going to have this every Sunday. And also within the week, there will be videos on predictions, how you can do your betting stuff very well. There are a lot of strategies to learn from that I can ensure that you win our trophies. Hold on to it. Do not go away. When we come back, we're going to discuss now the transfers in the EPL and some of the big names that have moved into the PL in a short while. Welcome back. Now let's go into the transfers. There has been big name moves to the Premier League. Some also left the Premier League. Steve, so far, what has been your biggest move for the Premier League? Which player do you think has been the biggest move so far for you in the Premier League?
First of all, I'll start with which team has had maybe the best transfer season. I'll definitely put Arsenal and Man City as the first teams in terms of having the best in terms of the transfer market. For instance, if I look at Arsenal, they've had Arsenal, they've had a very good replacement of Lacazette, one, because having somebody who has played in the EPL in the name of Gabriel Jesus, for instance, you know very well they'll be having somebody who's proven. We don't need to have somebody coming in from a different league and then acclimatizing, taking 10, 15 games before understanding how the intensity of EPL is. So I believe they've done quite good in terms of that. Secondly, Saliba was on loan. They took Saliba back. They've had also a very good signing of that is, I can say that is Jesus, Saliba. I think they've also had a very good Zinchenko.
They also got Zinchenko from Man City.
Zinchenko is also a very good signing based on the fact that Zinchenko is a player who can play he can play in midfield, and definitely the biggest role he has is left back. And the last season, you can see they had Tierney, for instance, who was majorly injured most of the time during the EPL. During the last season. So I believe they've had to cover most of the places which they had some bit of deficiencies. So I believe Arsenal, but the biggest one is definitely City. City have had very good recruitment last season, and also they have offloaded quite a number of maybe people who they thought would not maybe have been good fit in their club. So for instance, having somebody in the name of Haaland is a very big signing. And even before that, they had somebody that is Alvarez. I remember Alvarez United was linked with Alvarez before even City, but City managed to pull Alvarez from South America. So they have two very good players up front who can be able to rotate each other. Then definitely they have they let go of Fernandinho retired, and then they took Calvin Phillips. That was a very solid signing. So you have Calvin Phillips and Rodri, that is being the people who are sitting in the midfield. That's a very good addition to Man City. And definitely, if you look at the overall City team, how it's set up right now, I think they're set up for the future. It's not a City which was majorly having a lot of, these old players. Right now, they have very good young players who they can be able to mold to whatever they want to be for the next few seasons. So they have a very big core of a young team, which I believe will be one of the best to look up for. So I believe those teams have done very good transfers. Now, the other one which has been obviously in the limelight is United. United, they had to make transfers, whether they liked it or not. We needed a lot of players, and unfortunately, we haven't really signed the players that you're looking for. So I believe as a Man United fan, so as a United fan, definitely they are looking to have a very good defensive midfielder. We don't have that, for instance, right now. But they had a backup of Luke Shaw, so they had that is Malacia, and then definitely you have Martinez. Martinez can be able to play even as a defensive midfielder if they need be. And obviously having Eriksen is a very good boost in case maybe you have spells where Bruno Fernandes is not performing. You have a very good replacement in Eriksen. But also they are short of a lot of options, especially up front and defensive mid. The other team which has really done good transfers is Tottenham. But Tottenham, what they have done is that they have done backups. They have taken players who can be able to be not really big players, but players who can be able to add freshness in the squad. So they've had a lot of incomings, which I believe is adding depth to them. Not very big names, but names which can be able to add depth to the team. When you know how EPL comes, especially the last half of EPL, usually most of the players are injured. You've played a lot of Champions League games. You have a lot of injuries. There are red cards and all that. So the depth within Tottenham, I think it's good. So I would say number one, City, number two, Arsenal, Tottenham, and then United in terms of transfers. I've also not mentioned Liverpool, baby. Liverpool I've had also.
Liverpool for me, I would say Liverpool and City have done well, yes, but they are more the transfer they have done more is continuity. Why? Because they lost Mane. Mane is a big player to lose. He's a player that really you hear news that he's injured and so on. And the efforts he makes has been one of the strongholds for Liverpool. So Mane leaving, it's a big blow for them, but of course they have really, I think they were like more prepared. The Klopp knew what was going on. He brought last season, he brought Diaz, and this season he has brought in Nunes, two good attackers, So for me, Liverpool, I think they are good. Their business was as simple as that, just replacing, because the key players that Liverpool have lost is majorly Mane. I think so. Of course, they have had to release some players like the likes of Divock Origi was joined AC Milan, and also Minamino was
sure.
joined Monaco. I was hoping I would see more of Minamino, but of course their transfer was quite as simple as that. They got the 3 players in so far: Fabio Cavallo from Fulham, Darwin Nunes from Benfica, and Ramsey from Aberdeen, which I think it's good business what they have done. But of course, if you look at City as well, City has also brought in 2 key players, an attacker to replace Gabriel Jesus. Of course, they have also lost Sterling, and also they've brought in Kelvin Phillips, who covers now for the hole that Bernardino leaves, which for me it's a good business. So I don't think they needed many players, and that's why you'll find Liverpool able to spend a lot of money on Nunes, because they only needed probably one player alone. But so far, me, I would say Tottenham has probably, for me, done the best business so far, other than Arsenal. Reason being, I think Tuchel is, Conte is building a team, and a team that I believe is now going to give Tottenham depth to be able to compete at the highest level. If you look at the players that they have brought in, Ivan Perisic, this is a player Man United wanted, was not able to buy. They've also brought in Fraser Foster, Bissouma, Richarlison. Those are 4 very good players.
Solid players, yeah.
Yeah, because Richarlison gives them option in attack. Bissouma holding midfield.
Solid in the midfield. Yeah.
Ivan Perisic, a very good winger, and Fraser. So, and if you look at it, they only bought Bissouma at £25 million. Richarlison was also not, they didn't pay much, and then Ivan Perisic they got for free. So that was a very good business. But in terms of big moves, I would consider possibly Darwin Nunes, Haaland as the biggest move so far. But the transfers.
What about Gabriel Jesus?
Gabriel Jesus, to me, I don't consider him a good player per se, because if you are playing in a solid and fluid Man City team, and then you move to Arsenal, you're not going to get as many chances as City team creates, But of course, probably that could have been, he was not at the center of everything. In Arsenal, he might be the center of everything, and then things pick up. But Arsenal has equally done a very good business getting Jesus. Of course, Chelsea, there are worries about them in terms of their performance, their attack. They seems to be short in terms of attack. They've also lost a number of key players, the likes of Rudiger, Christensen, and I'm waiting to see, because this will be a very critical season for Tuchel, given that, of course, he delivered Champions League, but he has not delivered so much when it comes to the Premier League. And I think that is one of his targets for this season. And also the Chelsea teams is one that is, the Chelsea team is one that is under transition. So I know there has been a lot of effort to invest in the Chelsea team. We've seen Sterling move to Chelsea, but they've also there's one story about Jules Kounde from Sevilla that was very interesting. I literally Barcelona this season has not been good in Chelsea's neck. Apparently, Chelsea made the best offer to Kounde in terms of player offer, and then they were the highest bidder, but still they could not be able to convince Kounde to join. And there's something about Barcelona that I don't know how Xavi they managed to convince players. Lewandowski has joined. Chelsea were also buying Rafinha until last minute.
Definitely.
Barcelona hijacked. So Barcelona has not been very friendly with Chelsea.
They also took Christensen, you remember?
Yeah, and they took Christensen on free. I mean,
that was a very bad. That was a very bad aspect of the Chelsea management. They could not have let the Christensen issue,
and Rudiger,
especially his contract, to. Well, Rudiger, those contracts should not have been left to completion. They should have tied them to another contract. But I don't know what happened to them, because those are very solid players for Chelsea. Especially for defense. Right now, knowing that Chelsea has Thiago Silva, I think 37 or see how many years.
Yes, there's magic can do. Of course, you need experience to organize the defense and so on and so forth. But
they
in terms of pace, you know.
So I don't know how they really let those people go, but definitely whatever has happened. But Barcelona definitely will not be a very good friend of Chelsea for the next foreseeable future.
So Chelsea, they seems to be having a number of issues to sort out, even in their midfield. N'Golo Kante is getting old as well, and stuff. But I believe Tottenham has done a lot in terms of bringing depth into their squad. Liverpool has done a lot, the much they can do in terms to maintain that continuity and the squad. And you could see it being reflected in yesterday's game when they were playing Man City. In the in the Community Shield, they looked more fit but there's something also that I observed. If you look at the City team and the Liverpool's team and you compare with the United team, then you just realize those two teams are in another level that Man United
they're another different level. We have a lot of time. We have a lot of ground to cover, especially as a United fan.
Which begs me to the question to ask. I wanted to ask you this: Man United were playing Atletico yesterday, and a number of key players, in fact, we would consider first 11 team was playing in that game. Were you satisfied with the? Of course, United lost 1-0, but were you satisfied with the performance? Do you think that team is ready for the league?
I think I'll use your last point. That is looking at what is in the EPL at the moment, as far as quality is concerned. United are very, very, very far from what would be considered as a top team. So first of all, you can look at what exactly we have to offer, especially in attack. You definitely have that Ronaldo saga, which you don't really know. But Ronaldo is 37, so there's so much he can do. So you needed to have somebody, very good backups, players who could be able to get 20, 25 goals per season, at least 2 players. Right now, we don't have that. We're trying to mold Martial and Rashford to become those key players, of which we have really made a lot of. They've really been there for a long period of time. So those are the biggest expectations. So I believe as far as quality is concerned, United are very, very far. The best thing United can do, as far as maybe yesterday's game is concerned, is to have identity of how they can be able to play. I think that's the best thing United fans should be able to hope for the next season. That is having a team that can be able to play in a certain way, because I believe we've been relying so much on individual talents, especially last season. Ronaldo really carried that team, had close to 18 plus goals. So, and it was more or less individual brilliance. But as far as a team is concerned, the team philosophy, what exactly United stand for in terms of how they play, how they defend, that was lacking in last season. So I believe the biggest thing United can be able to do for this season is to have an identity, have a philosophy That's one. We should not really hope for a lot of miracles, especially looking at what exactly the quality is in the Premier League right now. But an identity and a philosophy of how they play will be able now to give Ten Hag that room of knowing who to keep and who to let go. So I believe, as far as quality is concerned, and even as far as the last the game, I mean, yesterday's game versus Atletico, that's now the real competition. That's the people we are, leave alone what we are playing in Sydney and all that. That's now the real competition of what exactly people should expect in EPL and even in these other competitions that we're having. So whatever was reflected yesterday should be the main, or maybe should be what people should expect of United in the next season. So I believe Eric Ten Hag has a lot of work cut out for him. Bringing that confidence back, having a team playing in a certain style, and definitely delivering the results that all United fans are expecting. So yeah, we have a very steep hill to climb.
Talking of Eric Ten Hag and his team, there has been a lot of dissatisfaction from United fans concerning transfers. I think with many of them expecting that by now they should have bought so many players, and they also the feeling that Man United did not spend in January because they wanted to give the incoming manager more funds and so on to buy the players that you would want to have. And of course, if you look at it to some level, also you realize that not only has Eric Ten Hag gotten some of his top priorities, I understand one of his top priorities was to get De Jong, and also get, I had 3 players who are his top priorities: De Jong, Darwin Núñez, which of course they've lost to Liverpool, and also Anthony. So both De Jong, Anthony are not yet there. There's no, I don't know, maybe you have an update of what is going on. Guys, and that marks the end of our part 1 of the discussion. Please do not go away. Part 2 is just following shortly. Please subscribe and follow us, and make sure that you hit the notification bell, because more and more of these are coming back, and also the predictions and all that. So do not miss. Please subscribe. Help us grow the channel. Enjoy your evening.